What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Split Decisions. I'm Patrick,
And I'm Justin.
and we're about to break down this UFC Fight Night, Saudi Arabia, Whitaker versus Aliskerov. Starting with the first fight.
So the first fight of the night, we got Long Zhao and Chang Ho Lee. So let me get to my notes here. Long Zhao is 26 years old with a 26-8 record already. This man has been grinding. 34 pro fights by the time you're only 26. I mean, you're out there just getting it. He's 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. Most of his wins are by decision. He's got a few KOs and subs mixed in there. He's coming into this fight on a 4-fight winning streak off the road to UFC. On the other side, we got Kang Ho Lee, who's 30. He's 5'8" with a 69-inch reach. Even though he's 4 years older than Zhao, he only has a record of 9-1. He's coming into this fight, winning all three of his fights on the road to UFC. There's not really much to say on these guys. Most of their fights are on the regional scene in Japan or in China. I'm just making my pick solely off the guy with more experience. So give me Long Zhao. Probably more than likely by decision, but it wouldn't surprise me if he goes out there and gets a finish. So what do you think?
Yeah, two road to UFC contestants. I do believe this is championship to the road to UFC. So winner's gonna take a contract, right? Correct.
Tournament
so
final.
Both have some motivation to come in and get a win. Long Zhao has kind of edged out a lot of his last wins. One by unanimous majority decision, one by split decision, or it might have been unanimous. Does have more fights, so he will hold an experience edge. As far as Chang Ho Lee, he is 9-1, so a little less fights, but I feel like does finish his fights a little more dominantly. Last three wins are by ground and pound finish. One in round one in round two, and one in round three. So dangerous throughout the whole fight. Do think he is facing better competition as well. It's a low level fight, but I think I am going to go the opposite way and start it out with a split decision.
Last card did the same.
And take Chang Ho Lee at slight dog money.
Yeah, you're getting him at plus 100, so
yeah,
you're
so
doubling.
I'm willing to take the shot on that. I feel like he has more finishing upside. But other than that, we got the next fight: Sedrique Dumas versus Denis Tiululin. Tiululin 1-4 in the UFC. He was given a contract for fighting Kizriev. Short notice. Will bring a fight. I mean, definitely gonna force some exchanges, whether he gets finished or wants to finish somebody. He just wants to strike. He wants to throw down. Has been finished a few times in the UFC, but was to some decent competition in Jun Park, RoboCop, Christian Leroy Duncan. Yeah. Good strikers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Good strikers. Who all I think would give Sedrique Dumas a problem. Dumas coming from a street fighting background with little MMA experience, right? Kind of fresh in MMA.
Yeah, he had kickboxing background.
Kickboxing style. Can mix in takedowns. This is a short notice fight for him. So at minus 180, I don't love it as a bet. I do think I'm going to pick Dumas as a pick. Just think he can mix in some grappling. Tiululin is able to be taken down and kind of a fish out of the water on his back. So I'm gonna go with Dumas, maybe by decision. I think Dennis could take. I think he could take some hits. I think he can maybe stay comfortable on bottom, maybe without getting finished. But I do see Dumas getting a victory and probably by decision.
Right. So, I mean, I think this fight's pretty easy to pick personally. Sedrique is young. He's way smarter. He has good movement. He's improving his cardio. His first fight, his cardio wasn't really there. It was kind of suspect. But it's getting better. He is adding grappling to, his tool bag. He is, like you said, a good striker. Really like a street fighter, but he does have a little bit of kickboxing experience. I just think he has more ways to win. Denis Tiululin is kind of a fraud in my opinion. He's a striker. He can he can catch somebody. He does have knockout power, but it's got to be the perfect, like, on the spot. He's got to catch you on the chin. So give me the SoundCloud rapper. Give me Sedrique Dumas. I'm going to say by finish. I'm going to say by KO because I think Dennis's cardio's trash. His gassing's trash. I feel like he's going to get tired and Sedrique will find a finish. If not by KO, a sneaky little sub.
I don't hate it.
All right, on to the next fight. We got Magomed. Is it Gadzhiyasulov? What? Magomed Gadzhiyasulov something. And
Gadzhiyasulov.
Gadzhiyasulov and Brendson Riberio. So Magomed is 8-0, making his UFC debut, coming off his Contender Series win. He's 6-2 with a 75-inch reach. He's kind of undersized for 205. He comes from that Sambo background of wrestling, like all those Dagestani fighters have. On the other side, you got Brendson Ribeiro. He's 15-6, 0-1 in the UFC. He's pretty much your typical Brazilian striker. He's got a little bit of BJJ, but mostly he wants to keep it on the feet. He's standing at 6'3" with an 81-inch reach, so he's going to be the bigger guy in this matchup. This fight's tricky just because there isn't much film on either fighter to go off of. You do have some old Sambo matches online that you can find for Magomed, but he's not, doesn't have much MMA experience. Ribeiro's been finished by sub twice, and he's been knocked out 3 times. I feel like if Magomed can take him down, he can either get in a position where he can sub him from that Sambo background, or he could get a ground and pound finish. But give me Magomed. If I got to say, give me Magomed by submission. He is setting at a minus 470, though, so I'm definitely not going to play that money line, but I might look at the props on that. So what do you think?
Yeah, Gadzhiyasulov, Dagestan, like you said, Sambo style. So he wants to get some grappling going. Just wants to probably chain wrestle Brendson Ribeiro. I don't think he's going to want to exchange with Brendson Ribeiro. No. Ribeiro does have power in the hands. 0 decision wins. Yeah. He has 15 MMA wins. All are by finishes, 9 KOs and 6 subs. So he does have a sub bag, and he can get a sub. Just one thing I wanted to point it out. Gadzhiyasulov was a negative 800 favorite in his Contender Series debut and won that fight by decision.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit overvalued by the market.
Definitely.
Maybe they overvalued his finishing upside until he seen some tougher competition. He is only 8-0, doesn't have a lot of fights. Brendson Ribeiro is coming off a KO loss in his UFC debut, but came through as a plus 400 dog in his Contender Series fight. So maybe these books are kind of undervaluing Ribeiro a little bit.
Right.
They might be overvaluing Gadzhiyasulov.
Right.
So as far as a bet, if I took a bet on this fight, it's definitely going to be Brendson Ribeiro money line or KO prop of some sort. Potentially an under, which the under is probably going to be juiced.
Yeah.
If I get a decent line on the under, I would take that. What was you going to say?
You could probably definitely get some good money on the way, like, method the fight ends by KO. I mean, it's probably going to be maybe in the minus,
because they might have it swayed
120s, 130s.
Thinking he'll get sub.
They could.
It's a pick. I'll go with Gadzhiyasulov. I'll match you. Just expect him to probably get some grappling going, even if he doesn't get a finish, like you said, by sub. Maybe just grinds him out and wins a decision.
Right.
But if I'm betting it, it's probably going to be a Brendson Ribeiro plus 360, plus 400 ticket.
Right.
Because I feel like that is the smartest side money line wise. But as far as a pick, it's going to be Gadzhiyasulov, but I'm not going to touch 470 money line.
No, it's stupid. So your next fight is going to be Muin, was it Gafarov and Kang.
Got you. Muin Gafarov versus Kang. Gafarov 0-2 in the UFC, but has faced some good competition in Saeed Nurmagomedov and someone who just fought recently, John Castaneda. Kang is 8-4 in the UFC, so does have some decent UFC experience. Um, Missed weight in his last fight. I do feel like he is a little bit oversized for a little bit bigger for this weight class.
Right.
I feel like he has a bigger frame than a lot of these guys he's fighting. Well rounded, can mix in takedowns, can strike. Never been finished in the UFC, so durable. I would say he's going to hold a 5-inch reach advantage in this fight. Has good counters. On the Gafarov side, he's also never been KO'd, but he has been knocked down, so he's touchable on the feet. He's powerful, has a powerful overhand right, likes to kind of just walk you down, but can mix it up as well, get some wrestling going. Um, Slows down a little bit as the fight goes on in the second and third rounds. Feel like John Castaneda was getting them takedowns a little bit easier. He was stuffing them in the first, but once that second and third came, was kind of getting broke by Castaneda. Um, my pick is gonna be Kang at dog money. I just feel like he's the longer, more lengthier striker. He does have more UFC experience. You're getting dog money on him at plus 105. Just a bigger frame. He's gonna be the bigger guy, and I feel like he holds just as much skill as Gafarov. I feel like he can create some scrambles if Gafarov wants to wrestle. I feel like he can keep it on the feet. So my pick is gonna be Kang at dog money.
Right. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this fight. Pretty much agree with everything that you said. I think this fight's going to be boring, though. To be honest with you, I can see Muin just trying to put that pressure in Kang's face and constantly shooting bad shots. I think Kang is good enough to circle out, keep range. He is the more experienced fighter. He does have more UFC fights, I do believe. Oh yeah, 0-2 to 8-4. If he does get taken down, I could see Muin being able to grab a neck and or do something, grab an arm, grab a triangle. But at the same time, I think
You see Kang shooting takedowns in this fight?
I think he could if he's getting pressured enough.
I think if anybody's shooting takedowns, it's going to be Gafarov.
Yeah, but I think that's what I'm saying. I think Gafarov is going to be the one shooting those bad shots and constantly putting that pressure on.
You were saying he could potentially get caught in something by Kang.
Yeah, because look at Said Nurmagomedov. He blitzed through on him.
He pressures.
And then tried to get a sloppy takedown, and Said just took that.
He's explosive early.
Yeah,
he is explosive early.
But my pick is going to be Kang too. I'm going to take that dog in this fight, the more experienced fighter. Like I said, I think Kang could grab a sneaky little sub, but at the same time, I could see him get a decision to grind out a decision win with that better cardio. So give me Kung Ho Kang by decision, but watch for that sneaky sub when Gafarov's shooting in sloppy. So the next fight, we got Rinat Fakhretdinov and Nicolas Dalby. Rinat Fakhretdinov is 22-2-1. He's 3-0-1 in the UFC. If there's one word that best describes this man, it's versatile. He's a finisher with 18 of his wins coming by finish. He can knock you out. He can submit you. His cardio, though, is suspect as fuck, if we're being honest. He fought to a draw his last time out because he gassed halfway through the second round. He was looking very explosive and very powerful in that first round and even, halfway through the second, but then just gassed and was holding on for dear life. On the other side, we got Nicolas Dalby. He's 23-4-1. He's 7-3 in the UFC. Dalby's a dog. He's a grinder type fighter. Real good with striking, but he's not like that great. He's good with wrestling, but he's not that dominant. He has submissions. He's a very durable fighter with good cardio, and he's shown he can still push a pace late in fights. When it comes down to picking this fight, I think it's a lot closer than what the line is actually giving us here. They have Fakhretdinov as a minus 290 and Dalby as a plus 235. But honestly, I think Dalby has a chance to really take this. I think he's a dog to watch out for on this card, simply based off the fact that where Rinat Fakhretdinov will gas, Dalby starts putting on the pressure. And he puts in that second and third round, he'll put a lot of volume on you. And it might not be the hardest shots, but it's enough to overwhelm you to where they don't even know what the fuck's going on. They're trying to cover up, they're trying to circle out. Next thing you know, Dalby is shooting a double on you. He's taking you to the ground. He's maintaining top position, smothering you. So when it comes to my pick, I want to slightly lean Rinat because I think he is good enough to get a first or second round finish, whether it be knockout or submission. But I am well aware of the upset that can happen here, and I'm not going to play that money line at all. I'm not playing anything on that minus 290. I might look at Rinat inside the distance decision of action when that prop drops, but as far as money line, I'm not touching it. But give me Rinat Fakhretdinov by submission if I'm going to make a pick. What do you think?
By sub, all right. Yeah, I'm probably on the same side, but like just to add to your point, Dalby does like to come through as a dog in his last fight, or maybe the fight before that. I believe it was the Bonfim brother. Bonfim came out not minus 600, minus 650 against Dalby, and Dalby came through as a plus 400 dog. Actually finished him. I think it was in the second round because kind of the same situation. Dude gassed out, and Dalby just kind of put too much on him and overwhelmed him. Actually got him out with some ground and pound, I believe. Fakhretdinov is going to come out with that Sambo style, relentless grappling. So it really just kind of depends who's going to be able to implement the game plan that they want, because you do have Dalby, who, with that karate style, likes to stay on the outside, likes to keep his feet moving,
right?
Likes to bounce around, is durable. So I do believe Dalby could get put in some uncomfortable spots but survive them.
Mm-hmm.
So if he does make Fakhretdinov work and gas Fakhretdinov off, gas Fakhretdinov out, then I could see potentially a late finish by Dalby, or Dalby maybe winning the last round. But ultimately, I do see Rinat just being able to have enough to at least win the first couple rounds,
right?
Whether it's just get him down and get that top control, maybe force some sub attempts,
rack up some damage,
rack up some little shots from the top,
right?
And probably win the first couple rounds. But maybe if you hold a 290 ticket or a Rinat Fakhretdinov decision ticket, you might be a little bit nervous in that third.
Sweating it like I am right now.
Once them takedowns don't come as easy. But ultimately, my pick is going to be Rinat Fakhretdinov by decision, where it's a 3-round fight. I do think he can maintain enough cardio to at least win the first couple rounds and then not get finished by Dalby in the third. So, my pick's going to be Fakhretdinov and by decision.
Right. All right. So the next fight is Nasrat Haqparast and Jared the Flash Gordon.
Haqparast 8-4 in the UFC, so does have some UFC experience. But on the other side, Jared Gordon just as much UFC experience, 8-5 in the UFC. He is a BJJ black belt with a boxing and wrestling base, so pretty much an all-around fighter. Has grown a lot in the last few years. I feel like he's gotten a lot better. Has faced some good competition. Got robbed by Patty. You think he won that fight?
No. Oh yeah, 100%. I thought you were talking about Patty. Yeah. I thought Jared Gordon won that fight.
Jared Gordon won that fight. I think half of the community, everybody who...
It was like they, out of 40 media members, like 39 thought Jared Gordon won.
So that should have been a win. Haqparast is going to be the cleaner striker on the feet, I do believe. Better counters. He's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage, fighting out of that southpaw stance.
Bigger guy.
Does come from a kickboxing base, so just more kickboxing and MMA style striking experience. Right. He is sitting at a negative 225 favorite, which I don't love. But maybe potentially a Haqparast by decision line. I may like, if they're giving me, which I believe I may get plus money on. If I can get plus money on a Haqparast decision. I think that's probably going to be my play. I just think he's going to be the cleaner striker on the feet, and I think he's going to have decent enough takedown defense to keep it up. I know he has struggled with grapplers before, or people that just kind of want to implement that type of style on him, but I think he's held up pretty well, and I'll just hope that Jared Gordon just tries to stay on the feet with him and make it a striking match for 3 rounds. So my pick is going to be Haqparast and by decision.
Okay. Well, this is another fight that we're split on because I am on the opposite side. Like you said, Nasrat, he's a big guy, 8-4 in the UFC, 5'10" with that 72-inch reach. Like you said, he is good, very good at boxing. Comes from that kickboxing background. He does have good takedown defense. His grappling's all right. I wouldn't even call it decent, but it's all right. He's a journeyman, though, which is weird to say because he is still young. But it seems like anytime they give him or try to give him a big step up in competition, he folds. Jared Gordon on the other side, another kind of journeyman, you can call it. He's 8-5 in the UFC. Like Pat said, he is a wrestler who's developed really good power in his hands, honestly. He rocked Patty quite a few times in their fight. He just got a knockout his last fight. He can rock you if he catches you, but he doesn't have that clean technique like Nasrat has. Nasrat will look way smoother, way cleaner on the feet, has good uppercuts, has good counters. But to me, this line seems off, if I'm being honest. I think it should be a lot closer than an almost, 3-1 favorite.
I agree with that. As far as money line side, I do agree with that. I'm not just to make clear, I'm not playing Haqparast minus 225 money line.
Yeah.
But I do think he wins the fight, and I'll look at a decision prop. I do not agree with the money line either. I do think it should be a lot closer. And if you're going a money line side, Jared Gordon will probably be the best bet. Right. I would agree with you on that.
Right. So, but Nasrat is the bigger guy. He is going to have that 4-inch reach advantage. He just hasn't shown me personally that he can handle somebody who matches his experience and skills. Usually when he's getting his wins, it's either against old kind of vets that are, on their way out, or young prospects that they're trying to kind of feeding to see how the prospects are, trying to gauge the level. So, as my pick, give me the underdog. Give me Jared Gordon. I'm going to go Jared Gordon by decision because I think Nasrat is tough. But I think Jared Gordon's going to be able to just constantly put that pressure on him, put that pace on him. I do like that Jared Gordon money line especially. So I just think he's going to be able to rack up the control time. And with that power that he has, I think he's going to be able to do damage in the clinch against the fence. Little trips against the fence to take Nasrat down. It's hard for Nasrat to get up just because he is such like a wide-bodied man that it's hard for him to get off his back. So my pick's Jared Gordon. Another split
decision for y'all.
All right, so our next fight, this is somebody that I've been fucking dick riding since he came into the UFC. Pause. We got Shara Magomedov versus Joilton Lutterbach. Shara Magomedov is 12-0. He's 1-0 in the UFC, coming off a pretty dominant win in his debut. He's 6'2" with a 73-inch
Hold
reach.
on. I gotta interrupt him on that. That was not a dominant win.
Don't do that. Those kicks, he had Bruno hurting. Did he gas? Of course. UFC debut, big lights, whatever, against Bruno. But don't do that. Go back and look at that damage, bud. Anyways, 6'2" with a 73-inch reach. He's another Russian fighter, but this man doesn't want to wrestle. He wants to kick your head clean off your shoulders. He's got slick striking, very slick striking, honestly, with heavy-ass kicks. He's very exciting to watch. There was a clip after his last fight where he's on the ground. Bruno Silva's trying to ground and pound. This man throws a wheel kick from the bottom and then an axe kick as Bruno's coming in. Insane shit that I've ever seen from the back. On the other side, you have Joilton Lutterbach, who's 38-10, making his UFC debut. He's coming from karate combat, so his striking is wild too. But other than that, there's not much film on him. He did fight in the PFL, which is another organization.
0-2.
Lower level. He
went
was
0-2 in the PFL, but did fight Clay Collard, who is decent competition.
Right. So this fight is easy to break down, in my opinion. I feel like Lutterbach is just kind of like a sacrificial lamb stepping in on short notice. to fill a spot. They wanted Magomed on this card, Saudi card. That Muslim fan base is big for these Russian fighters. So my pick is going to be Shara Magomedov by KO, but I could see a decision too, depending on how much Lutterbach is able to circle out and avoid damage. But give me Shara. What do you think?
My pick is gonna be Shara as well, but just to add to my point I was making earlier, um, in that debut he did get taken down.
Oh yeah,
in the second round. He got taken down in the third round, and he did get controlled on top too. And
he couldn't get back.
And he had trouble getting up.
Right.
He did have that crazy whatever it was off the ground,
kicks from his back, and
he was, and some crazy up kicks. I mean, he was throwing elbows from the bottom. Don't get me wrong, he was attacking from the bottom.
Right.
He was dangerous from the bottom, but did struggle with getting taken down.
He did,
and which is Bruno Silva, somebody with a lot more UFC experience. Right. Probably had a game plan in that fight.
He knew who he was messing with.
But I just wanted to touch on that. He is at a negative 225 money line. I do think he's going to be probably the more crafty striker. Comes with crazy wheel kicks, like you said, whippy kicks, fast whippy kicks,
his like axe kicks,
body
and
kicks,
question mark kicks.
Just super elite striker. Lutterbach is a debut, coming off 2 KOs in karate combat. I believe one was a flying knee, and one was like a left hook, maybe some type of strikes with the hands. So does have some striking, came from a kickboxing base, but does have a lot of MMA experience as well. I think he's like 40-12 or something, 40-15.
38-10.
38-10 in MMA. So a lot of MMA experience, could come out here with a game plan, just like Bruno Silva. Maybe he wants to get some takedowns. Maybe he wants to mix it up, make it an MMA fight, and not kickbox with the elite striker.
Yeah.
I'm not calling a dog call right now. I'm just being speculative.
It is MMA.
My pick is going to be Magomedov, but I would stay safe from a negative 225 money line. Like you said, potentially touch a KO prop. It is a debut. My pick's going to be Magomedov, but I'd say be safe.
Right. Understandable. So your next fight is Johnny Walker and Volkan Oezdimer. No time.
Johnny Walker versus Volkan Oezdimer. Oezdimer 7-6 in UFC. Johnny Walker is going to be huge.
Massive.
Every fight, he's huge, stands tall. He's going to have an 8-inch reach advantage. Wild striker, just kind of unorthodox. Throws stuff from weird angles. Has great kicks. He is a brown belt in BJJ, so can somewhat hold his own on the mat. He is a little bit chinny, as we seen Jamal Hill chinned him up. I believe he was chinned by Magomed Ankalaev in his last fight. But super long, rangy striker and dangerous. Has dangerous power. Oezdimer on the other side has faced a lot of good competition in the UFC. Has power in his hands as well. 3 KOs, 1 sub, and 3 decision wins in the UFC. So can kind of all around just mix it up and give people problems. The line's negative 120. Johnny Walker. Does that surprise you? Because I expected it to be a lot more. I expected him to be a higher favorite.
I really honestly think it's so close just because his chin. I think because where Volkan has so much power, I think they're saying, well, Johnny, if he gets touched, his last fight, he dropped. We saw against Jamal Hill, he dropped. Volkan does have that same type of power.
Yeah, he does. Just not the most technical.
No, and he's old.
And he's old. So my pick's going to be Johnny Walker. I do like the minus 120 money line, and I do expect it to grow throughout the week. We're recording this on Sunday, so hoping to have it out to y'all by Monday or Tuesday. Just to let y'all know, we're looking at the lines right now, but they might be something completely different
by the time you
see this video.
Right.
But I do like Johnny Walker at minus 120, and that's going to be my pick. I don't think I'm going to say KO. I'm going to say Johnny Walker by decision in a 3-round fight. Just see him staying on the outside, being the more lengthy striker, just touching him and not getting touched.
Right. So I'm pretty much on the same boat with everything other than how I think the fight goes. Johnny Walker, like Pat said, is massive for light heavyweight. This man stands at 6'6". By the time he rehydrates and comes into the octagon, this man weighs anywhere from 235 to 240, which is insane. You know what I'm saying? 30 to 35 pounds. He's a very good striker, wild striker. He's big power, big scary power. He's got a pretty sneaky submission game as well. But on the other side, like Pat said, Volkan Oezdimer is also a striker whose base is kickboxing, throws heavy 1-2s, good heavy low kicks, body kicks. I feel like this fight, it's another easy one to pick for me personally. You have a younger, bigger, faster, and more well-rounded Johnny Walker going against a flat-footed striker like Oezdimer. I think the lines are only this close, like we talked about earlier, just because Johnny got knocked out. So I feel like Vegas is a little iffy, and they don't want to make Oezdimer a massive underdog and then Johnny get caught on the chin and be slept in the first round or something. But Volkan, I caught myself just now saying, oh, Volkan's old. He's only 34. But in fight years, this man is old. He's been around the UFC for a while. He's got, 13 fights in the UFC. So for my pick, give me Johnny, but I'm going to go Johnny by KO or sub because I feel like we've seen Volkan slow down against who was it that he was rocking in the first round? Nikita Krylov. We saw Volkan rocking Nikita Krylov in that first round, but Nikita kind of survived. And then in the second, Volkan was kind of real tired, and Nikita started to pour it on. I think Johnny Walker has way more finishing ability than Krylov does.
I would bet Krylov against Johnny Walker.
I just feel like styles make fights.
I bet Krylov.
That'd be a wild matchup.
I bet Krylov against a few guys in the top 5.
Yeah. But as far as my pick goes in this fight, give me Johnny Walker by KO or sub. I just think if Volkan doesn't catch him in the first on that chin, that's already suspect. That Johnny's eventually going to be able to either take him down and find a sub or catch him with some wild flying knee or something like that. So cue the montage if he does get caught with the flying knee. But yeah. So our next fight, we have Muhammad Niamov versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. And I'm going to go ahead and say now, I think this could be a sleeper pick for fight of the night. Because this fight has the potential to be very exciting. Or a grapple-heavy lay and pray. Who knows? But Muhammad Niamov is 11-2. He's 3-0 in the UFC. He's 5'9" with a 70-inch reach, and he's a little dog in that featherweight division. He pushes a relentless pace the entire fight, constantly keeping you on the back foot. He's a striker preferred, but he can take it to the ground if he needs to. On the other side, you have Melsik Baghdasaryan. He's 8-2, 3-1 in the UFC. He's also 5'9" with a 70-inch reach, so length shouldn't be an issue in this fight. He's a very good striker as well, but he doesn't have much wrestling or grappling. He's working on it and is improving fight by fight, but he's a preferred striker for sure. I feel like somebody's going to get knocked out in this fight. If not, this fight has the capability to be fight of the night. Both of these fighters are exciting strikers, but I feel like Melsik Baghdasaryan's lack of really like grappling or a good wrestling base could come back to bite him in this, because I feel like if Muhammad Niamov isn't getting the best of him on the feet, he does have that ability to take it to the ground if he needs to. And that's where I said that kind of lay and pray would come in, where he'll just kind of control him on the ground, do whatever. But if it plays out how it should, this is going to be an exciting strikers match because they're both wild. They can both bang. So as my pick goes, give me Muhammad Niamov by knockout or decision if Melsik can survive this fight, going to the ground or something crazy happening. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Niamov in this fight. I do think he's just the more well-rounded. I think he could take it to the ground if he wants. If not, just cage push,
right,
and kind of just enforce that grappling that he likes to, or that he did against Nathaniel Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Alleviated the better striker just by being the more physical guy, closing the distance, getting takedowns.
He was a slight dog in that fight too.
Yeah, came through as a dog. He also debuted as a dog, plus 350 against Malarkey came out, got that fast finish in the first round. So does come out explosive as well. Pressures forward on a 2-fight win streak, so has some momentum under his belt. Baghdasaryan is 3-1 in the UFC. Hasn't faced the best comp though. No. Kind of fed some cans.
Trying to build up a
with
prospect.
all due respect. But he does have power in the hands. He has kickboxing style. Is a good striker, but can get taken down. I do believe he got taken down like 5 times against Tucker Lutz.
Yeah.
So definitely struggles with his takedown defense. Who knows if he's been working on it? How long has it been since his last fight?
I don't have that pulled up right now. I know before that Tucker Lutz fight, he went and trained at AKA with like Daniel Cormier and all of them.
Okay, so
potentially didn't improve it at all.
Okay, so maybe just struggles in that area. Coming from a kickboxing style, sometimes it's harder to, get everything to go for you in MMA.
Tucker Lutz last July. It was July 15th.
So it's been about a year since he's fought. My pick's gonna be Muhammad Niamov. I'm kind of surprised at this line as well. -115. I feel like that's some value on Niamov. Just feel like he has more ways to win the fight. Could win it by a big shot. Can win it just by grinding on him with the wrestling. So my pick's gonna be Niamov, and I'll say by decision. I'll say Baghdasaryan can survive. Right. But yeah, my pick's gonna be Muhammad Niamov, and I'm kind of confident in it. I like -115.
See, that line just makes me wonder because they're
makes you think they're missing something.
In my opinion, like Melsik Baghdasaryan striking isn't that much better than Muhammad Niamov's, but by this line, I
think it is.
You think it is that much better?
I think it's better.
Yeah. Well, it's better, but I don't think it's that much
Nathaniel
better.
Wood's striking was better too.
Right. Yeah.
And we see how that fight went.
What Niamov did.
But Niamov did get dropped in that fight.
Yeah.
Just did enough with the takedowns and control time in the other rounds.
He also dropped Nathaniel Wood in the first 20 seconds of that fight. The clean check right. Yeah. But who hasn't dropped Nathaniel Wood? So.
Nathaniel Wood's good though.
Yeah, he is.
But on to the next fight.
Kelvin Gastelum and Daniel Rodriguez.
Gastelum, vet in the UFC, sitting at -240 on the money line, which right away I'm gonna tell you I don't love.
Yeah.
BJJ black belt with a college wrestling base, so kind of all around pretty good fighter. Has some hands, has some striking. On the other side, we got Daniel Rodriguez, pretty decent striker as well.
Slick boxing,
but I would say kind of low volume. Maybe sits on the outside, wants a counter. Thought he lost that Liang fight.
Oh, he robbed Liang
with a big weight advantage.
Hey, they didn't let Liang come up to the press conference in a suit, and then they robbed him in the D-Rod fight.
So my pick's gonna be Gastelum. I feel like he could probably get some wrestling going. You think he's better on the hands? With the hands?
I think
on the feet?
Faster. I think his hands are faster, but I don't know about better.
I feel like that Chris Curtis win was solid.
Yeah.
Because Chris Curtis, another boxing style, sit in the pocket with you,
right?
Let some hands go.
Right.
I feel like that's similar style,
right?
But I do think Chris Curtis is better than Daniel Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, I do too.
So, my pick's gonna be Kelvin Gastelum in this fight. Just think he's kind of better, probably everywhere the fight goes. He has kind of dropped off a little bit. Who did he fight in his last fight?
He fought Sean Brady. Sean Brady dogged him for 3 rounds.
And he got Kimura in the 3rd round.
That was his first fight back down to 170. He was fighting at 185 before that.
So drop weight.
Yeah, he dropped weight. This is his second fight at 170.
And is a BJJ black belt getting Kimura? That's interesting.
Yeah, but Sean Brady was massive. Way bigger than him. Like when you go back and look at that fight, Sean Brady looked like
And Sean Brady ain't a slouch.
No.
My pick's going to be Gastelum. I'm not crazy about a -250 money line. Probably Gastelum by decision. I think Daniel Rodriguez is tough. Yeah. I think he could take some damage. So, yeah, give me Gastelum and by decision. What do you think?
You're more respectful than I am. I think D-Rod's a fucking bum, if I'm being honest with you. I think they robbed Liang with that one. We watched Ian Gary come out and just absolutely make him look like he didn't belong in the UFC.
I seen that live in Charlotte.
He saw it live.
Energy was crazy.
This man... That head kick didn't even land that flush. Like it was nice, but it wasn't like
he wrapped around his ear.
Yeah, it definitely hit him kind of back of the head a little bit. because the foot wrapped around. But D-Rod, honestly, he does have slick boxing, but this man looks like the sloppiest 170 welterweight. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't look like he's in shape.
He doesn't have, he's not ripped up. He's not toned. He's got that like chubby, just dad look almost. Like he's about to go grill some burgers after the fight. He is 37. Daniel Rodriguez is 7-3 in the UFC. He's a boxer. He's got some good low kicks. Like, I'm not going to shit on him too much. He does have clean boxing. But like Pat said, Kelvin Gastelum is more well-rounded, does have a college wrestling background, is a BJJ black belt, and has gained a nice, smooth boxing style since, coming to the UFC. Does have power. This man was fighting at middleweight, knocking out people up at middleweight. He had that war with Izzy for the interim middleweight championship. Yeah. But after that fight, he I think it took a lot out of him, and he kind of took too much time off, kind of fell out of love with fighting. Now he's back down to 170. His first fight against Sean Brady at 170, I'm not going to hold that against him too much because Sean Brady is a dog. He is, a heavy wrestler. Like, he's got that pressure. He had the size advantage. But I think this fight's going to be boring, if we're being honest. I think if Kelvin's smart, he's going to take down Daniel Rodriguez just because D-Rod doesn't have that good a takedown defense. He can't be taken down. Once he's down because he's a slob, and he's not getting up. He is very bad off his back, doesn't have a good get up game. But we don't know if Kelvin's going to have that good fight IQ to do that. He might try to stand on the feet thinking he can trade with D-Rod and give D-Rod a chance. But like Pat said, I don't know if I'm going with that money line. That minus 240 with Kelvin Gastelum is a little rough, but I am going to pick Kelvin Gastelum, and I also have him by decision. So I'll look at that Kelvin Gastelum by decision prop. But yeah, I agree.
Cool.
So our next fight, we have Sergei Pavlovich and Alexander Volkov. Sergei Pavlovich is 18-2, 6-2 in the UFC. His last fight was a loss to Tom Aspinall for the interim heavyweight championship, but I don't hold that against him. Tom Aspinall's a dog. I think Tom Aspinall beats John Jones, and I'm going on wax saying that.
Chill, bro.
He's standing at 6'3" with a massive 84-inch reach. He's a Russian, but he ain't shooting for no legs. This man is throwing big, heavy shots at your head. 15 of his 18 wins are by KO, most of those in the first few minutes of the fight. On the other side, you have another Russian in Alexander Volkov, who likes to stand and bang. He's 37-10 overall, 11-4 in the UFC. This man is massive at 6'7", but he does have an 80-inch reach, so he's going to have the shorter reach against Sergei Pavlovich. Volkov is more of a kickboxer than a boxer, but he does have technical striking. He does have good heavy leg kicks. As far as breaking down this fight, though, I think it's pretty cut and dry. There are a couple concerns I have for Sergei, like his cardio, and if he's able to get in there on Volkov and make those connections where Volkov is so tall, he's got to kind of swing up if he's going to go for some of those big shots or whatever.
You think Volkov could potentially get some grappling going in this fight?
I mean, maybe.
I think if
we've seen him start working.
If he's smart, he will.
Yeah, we've seen him start working into his game. My pick is going to be Sergei by KO, but I'm worried about his cardio, and I'm worried about that chin coming off of that loss to Tom Aspinall, where he was out, eyes rolled back, out. So, like you said, though, Volkov could work in some grappling. We haven't seen really Sergei's grappling tested that much. Curtis Blades kind of had a couple half-ass attempts to take him down that didn't work. But give me Sergei by, I'm going to say first round knockout, but maybe early second round knockout. So what do you think?
Yeah, I like this. I like Sergei too. I just think he's a faster striker.
Right. He's minus 210. I don't know if I said that, but he's a minus 210
minus 210 favorite.
Plus 175.
Like you said, 4-inch reach advantage. I think Sergei's the way better boxer. I think he's way more powerful. Has more knockout upside. I think he's faster with the hands. Like you said, though, Alexander Volkov does kind of want to stay at range and use them kicks as well. But I think that's going to be his detriment in this fight. I think he's going to try to throw a naked kick, and Sergei is going to step in the range on one of them, catch them off balance, and touch them.
And that 4-inch reach advantage, I mean, that's no joke. He can find
not
that
even
chin.
that, just the speed of them hands,
Them
man.
hands are quick for a heavyweight.
You see this guy posting some workout videos. I mean, he's looking like Ryan Garcia at heavyweight.
It's fast.
You know what I mean?
Pads.
Yeah, the way his hands are flowing. But minus 210.
Ryan Garcia.
Minus 210. I'm not crazy about it, but I do see him potentially covering the line, probably by early knockout. Cardio could be an issue, and takedown defense could be an issue if Volkan wants to implement that, but I don't really see him trying. He probably just tries to keep it at range and use his legs more than his hands, and I think Sergei's just going to get them hands off and probably find a KO early first round. Yeah, I'm going to call first round knockout Sergei Pavlovich.
Volkov did mix in that grappling, though, against Ta, so that was a good point to bring up because he could implement that grappling. His fight IQ is,
and if he does, just
pretty good.
Just to let it be known, Sergei can be taken down.
Oh yeah,
he was taken down and mauled in his debut, I believe, by Uberim.
But at the same time, that was while Uberim was juicing too. Like he popped shortly after that. So,
but yeah, both of us are on Pavlovich, and we both like knockout.
Yeah. So main event time.
Main event, we got Robert Whittaker and Ikram Aliskerov. Robert Whittaker, minus 145 favorite, which is crazy to think. He's got all the experience.
Short notice.
We just broke down Aliskerov in the last video.
Last week.
And what we say?
What are you talking about?
He's a problem for the division.
Yeah. He's a big
He's going to be a problem for the division.
Yeah. This man's
scary. But that was also against Tricoli.
A no name.
That we was breaking him down, minus 900 favorite. This is a little bit different here.
But the fact that he's only a plus 120 against Robert Whittaker on short notice, I don't get it.
It tells you something.
I get it, but I don't get it.
Obviously, it's a huge opportunity for him.
Yeah, big show.
So a lot of motivation. In a way, home field.
Oh, home turf for sure.
Home turf.
In front of the Muslim fans.
Home field advantage. To his detriment, though, first 5-round fight.
Right.
So Robert Whittaker's been in plenty 5-round fights. He's fought for world titles.
Been in these big moments.
But Aliskerov does he has 3rd-round finishes, so he can still finish late in the round. He's still dangerous.
He carries that power.
Late in fights.
Right.
We don't know about 4th and 5th championship rounds, but definitely some skill there. Coming off 2 first-round finishes, so he's dangerous. He's just got a lot of momentum, but that was against Phil Halls and Warley Alves.
Yeah.
So
not anywhere close to
nowhere near a Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
So huge step up in competition for him. He's coming for Hamzat is what he wants. He wants that Hamzat win.
He wants the belt, but he wants Hamzat.
Yeah. Obviously, he wants to hold that belt. Yeah. But I know he wants that lick back from Hamzat. He
wants to get that advantage.
Almost quick. It's like a Pereira, Izzy type deal.
He's hunting
him down. And UFC's doing everything they can to make it happen too.
Hey, what's better than stepping in on short notice for the guy that beats you? You know what I'm saying? Because then now if he beats Rob, they're gonna book that Khamzat fight next.
Exactly.
Or try
to. UFC didn't do this for no reason.
No.
So the UFC definitely thinks it can happen. I do believe I seen a quote that Dana White told Aliskerov if he beats Robert Whittaker, he's gonna change his life.
Yeah, I can see it too.
So Dana White's for it. I think Dana White wants it to happen. A changing of the passing of the torch, some new blood in the middleweight division, which kind of has been a stale division for a long time.
Right.
Obviously Izzy held the belt for a long time, and it was kind of just a wishy-washy, same top 5, not the most skilled division.
No, middleweight's terrible. If we're talking skills, middleweight's terrible.
It's hard to make a pick here. I mean, I kind of want to see where you're at too, because it's still up in the air. Like I said, we're recording this on Sunday. This was a late put together.
This happened Thursday, I believe.
So
maybe
this just got put together. I mean, what do you think about the fight?
All right. So pretty much, everybody knows Robert Whittaker. Everybody knows the dog he is, right? He's had, his ups and downs. He's had his wars with Izzy. That chin has been cracked before. We've seen that but we've also seen this man come out and look like Mr. Invincible. I mean, when he fought Marvin Vettori in Paris, that man looked like a god.
It's
out there
like
just piecing him up.
And that's the thing. Are we gonna get that Rob,
or are we gonna
get the Dricus Duplessis Rob, who gets touched by a jab and crumbles?
And
if you can't get touched by nothing by Alaskarov like that.
And that's what, if you heard my breakdown last week, I've been big on Alaskarov when he made his Contender Series debut, and then when he made his UFC debut. I've been big. I think this guy is scary good. I think he has big, strong power. 15-1, 2-0 in the UFC, 76-inch reach to Robert Whittaker's 73.5. So he could pump that jab very well. And what have we seen fuck Rob up? A good jab followed by a good hook right behind it. That jab will blind him, and then that hook catches him. So the fight was short notice replacement after Khamzat fell out. This is Ikram's third opponent in the last 3.5 weeks. So he's been training for a 3-round fight against somebody lower level. And then now he's stepping up, literally got on Twitter and said that pretty much like, pick me, I'll take it when Khamzat fell out. Been training for a 3-round, but this is a 5-round. Been training for scrubs, but this is Robert Whittaker. On the other side, you got Robert Whittaker, who's been training for a crazy Russian wrestler this whole time. Been training for a 5-round.
I mean, has been training for
the
same type of fight,
yeah,
But so that explosive, fast. But
granted, Khamzat's way more of a wrestler than Ikram.
Comes out like a crackhead, straight to the point.
Yeah, Ikram, he would rather knock you out than submit you. Where Khamzat, he would rather smash. He wants to smash, submit.
Alaskarov, I would say, is a little more composed. Will be a little more patient in there and wait for his shot, opposed to trying to force something.
Better fight IQ. Like, if you look at Khamzat versus Gilbert Burns, that fight IQ was terrible. Terrible. Ikram will not be like that. But what does surprise me is the fact that Ikram, like I said, has been training for a 3-round. This is a 5. Took it on a short notice, and the line is still this close. Me being a huge Ikram fan, like, yeah, it's cool, but I'm still like, I'm even a little weird.
To me, I'm looking at this dog money and it's screaming at me.
Yeah.
Because
plus 120.
We just seen, obviously, complete different opponent, but we was just looking at this man as a negative 1,000 favorite.
Yeah.
A few days ago.
My thing is, me liking Ikram, I wish it was bigger. Like, why are they giving him? They're giving him a lot of respect to be 15-1 coming in against.
And that shows something, especially against Robert Whittaker.
So my pick.
You gonna go first?
Yeah. Oh, you want? No, go ahead. Go ahead. Make your pick.
I just didn't want it to seem like I was waiting on you to.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna say Alaskarov gets this win. Late notice.
Right.
I feel like it's a big deal. I feel like he has a lot to gain from it, and he knows it. His camp knows it. I feel like Robert Whittaker is gonna have a whole new style coming at him that he hasn't really prepared for. I mean, has he really been polishing up his hands like that, or has he been working on them sprawls and that wrestling?
Yep.
So
that wrestling.
My pick's gonna be Alaskarov, and I think I like the dog money on him.
Right. So I'm pretty much going to piggyback off Pat. I'm going to ride Alaskarov here. I think Robert's chin has been touched, and I feel like if Alaskarov touches his chin, he's got way more power than Izzy. He's got way more power than Dricus. I think he's just next level when it comes to the power. He don't look like it, but that man's got some power in his hands. But I will say, if Rob can survive the first round, the second round, I feel like we will start to see Alaskarov gas a little bit in that third. Yeah. And if he makes it out of the third, he's definitely going to be tired in that fourth.
Oh, yeah. If this round sees 4th and 5th rounds.
Because you got to think he was cutting weight last week, too. He maybe didn't make the drastic
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. But he was cutting weight last week, too. He's not a small middleweight. Like, this man probably walks around 210. So he probably was cutting down a little bit, but hadn't hit the sauna yet, hadn't hit the hot tub yet.
Yeah.
So that might take effect because he's cutting weight 2 weeks in a row. So if it does start making it to the third and fourth, I'm going to start sweating it a little bit. But give me Ikram too. Give me Ikram by. I'm going to say first or second round knockout. I think he's going to catch Rob. And I love Rob. I'm a Rob fan, but I think this is the changing of the guard for sure, passing of the guard. So
cool. We on the same side then.
Yep. All right, y'all. That's UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia.
First time in Saudi Arabia.
First time in Saudi Arabia. They wanted to make this card big. This card was supposed to happen a couple months ago, but Saudi Arabia saw the original card, said, "No, brother, that's bullshit," and they scrapped it. came out with this card.
You know what you get. A lot of these Dagestan guys, a lot of these Russian guys.
Oh,
some exciting fights.
They want it to be home crowd advantage. They want that place jumping with all the Russian and Muslim fans. So I think it's going to be a great card.
Facts. So. But we appreciate y'all stepping in and joining us today and listening to us talk about some fights.
Right.
This has been the 4th official episode of the Split Decisions podcast. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Justin.
And we appreciate y'all and enjoy the fights.
See y'all next week.